That bright smile long gone been replaced. From ear to ear I see that fear in your face. Tell me when the last time you felt safe, cause there's some evil people in the streets. Evil at your front door, creeping while you sleep. It's time to raise up, show that evil we ain't weak. We don't turn the other cheek, I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy, I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up. We go.
Hello. Sorry, my camera's been acting funky. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Insights of a Survivor. This is the week that you are stuck with just me. So, just bear with me. I'm running a little. You guys know how it can be. Life is lifing right now. So, heads up, there is a storm, and our Wi-Fi has been jinky. So, if you have to, if I have to reset it, or if it shuts off on me, just know I will be right back. I am still trying to get my technical difficulty stuff in hand underhand, but I'm getting it. I'm sorry. I am still doing one more thing. There we go. That's what I'm doing. You guys are gonna catch me doing my last little twos and fews, but that's okay. So I first want to thank you again for tuning in. Tonight we're going to be having a fun game. It's called the Confessions and Advice game. This is the Healing and the Survivor edition. So let me just give you a little, before we jump in, I have to do my little spiel. So hello, beautiful people. Welcome again to Insights of a Survivor. And before we get started, I would like to offer a trigger warning. Today's episode will cover topics related to trauma, survival, and personal healing. Some of what I discuss may be emotionally intense or challenging. If you feel unsafe or triggered at any point, please pause, take care of yourself, and return when or if you are ready. Your safety always comes first. And that being said, I am not a medical professional. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a doctor. Working on it, but not there just yet. So if you do see that you need some type of medical care, something that is a little bit more than what I can offer, please reach out to someone who has the experience and the qualifications and the title and the degrees or whatever else they need behind their name to give you that type of treatment, okay? So now this is the last episode of the month, and I wanted to do something a little different, something fun, educational, and deeply meaningful. I did it once with my family where we played a little game. So over the past few weeks, we've explored stories, reflections, and survivor experience together. And today, I want to combine personal storytelling, reflection, and practical healing tools in a way that's interactive, even though I'm here solo. Like if you guys want to jump in, please feel free to answer, engage, put your stories in the comments, and I would love to hear from all of you. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm introducing a game called the Solo or the Confession game. It's a solo survivor confession and healing version of this game. It's a chance for me and anyone listening to dive into raw, honest confessions, vulnerable truth, and moments of empowerment while practicing real, practical healing techniques. So the questions that I ask, I'm going to be answering. But if you want to answer yourself, to play along. If you want to keep it in, don't want to, engage, that's fine. If you are comfortable enough to put your answers in the comments, I would love to hear it. So here's how it's going to work. I'll read a prompt out loud. These prompts are about surviving, healing, and reclaiming your power. Then I'll share my personal story or reflection in this response of the prompt. After that, I'll pause to demonstrate, and I'll pause for a second, and I'll demonstrate a healing technique like grounding, visualization, journaling, or affirmations to help the process of emotions that could come up, so in a bold takeaway or learned, something to empower, inspire, and maybe even challenge you as you reflect on your journey. And because this is a solo episode, all the exploration comes from my experience. But I do still encourage you again, follow along, try the techniques, and reflect with me. So buckle up, grab a journal, take a deep breath, and let's dive into our first healing and confession prompts. Okay, are you ready? I'm a little nervous. So, the first prompt is the moment I realized I thought I the moment I realized I survived something that I thought would break me. If anybody has been following me, a lot of you know that. Oh, what happened? See, I lost my son. My camera's. How long has my camera been out? Let me try to see what's going on. Oh, let's put that back in there. See, I told you. So I'm so sorry. I hope you all heard me, but here we go again. um, so we're playing the game Confessions, Healing, and Power as a solo edition, and it's about, it's basically, I'm going to do the fast version. What it does is I'll read a prompt out loud, I'll answer honestly, maybe telling a little story about it for a couple of minutes. Then I'll pause, let you kind of get grounded, practice some healing techniques. I'll give you something that we could do, affirmation, journaling, breathing, something. And I'll try to add commentary to reflect or some type of advice uh, from a survivor's perspective. And I might end with a bold takeaway or an empowered lesson I learned. So I'm not sure yet. That's if this didn't hear. If I had to repeat myself, you guys, I'm sorry. So again, section one or category one is my bold survivor confessions and healing. So the prompt that I was getting ready to discuss was the moment I realized I survived something I thought would break me. And as I was saying, anyone who has been following me, they do know that I lost one of my children. I have three children. I'm the mother of three. I lost my oldest child when he was 19 years old in 2017, January 24th, 2017. And I can't even say that. I mean, it almost shattered every piece of who I was. Um, the moment that I realized that I survived that was when I made it to the first year of his homegoing. Um, I was still struggling. I was still dealing, but I realized I survived the year, one of the worst years of my life, because again, I didn't have the supports that I should have had. It was really bad. It was really bad, but I survived it, and I did think it was going to break me, not only because I lost my son, but because of what I had to go through during that year. You know, um, I am a part of an anthology, the Warrior Women of War anthology, and in that book, I talk about my year of transformation, which kind of goes into some detail about what I went through when my son passed away. So, but going through all that and still making it with that first year. So, whew, so this is what I have to do. Even this, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths. And during that, you notice your body's strength in that moment. I'm not as like I felt myself kind of rambling. My anxiety was going up, and just in those 3 breaths, I feel the difference of how more relaxed and chill I'm getting. Um, so that kind of helped me get recentered. So just taking a few deep breaths can help you get back into an area where you can feel centered and feel grounded. It's not going to make the feelings go completely away because talking about things like that kind of makes you miss. I miss my son, of course, but I'm now able to focus on what's in front of me and not things I can't control. Um, so the next prompt is a choice I regret, but ultimately taught me strength. A choice that I regret, but it ultimately taught me strength. Oh my goodness. I am not the best person to make good decisions, so I had to think of the one that a choice that I regret was trusting a person that I went to school with. She was someone that I thought had my best interest in heart. I really regret trusting her. But the experiences that I had with her over the years that I had her in my life, it taught me strength. And it also taught me that I used to fight every time I got into situations where I was angry and I couldn't control my temper. And being around her taught me how to not fight, I guess, if that's what you want to say. I was able to, I would say that actually the choice that I regret too also was staying with my ex-husband as long as I did. I stayed for the reasons, and he was their personalities are similar. That's why I was just like, okay, so I didn't know which one to pick. But those are the two worst decisions that I felt like I made, that I choices that I regret. I should have left him, years before, so that I didn't have to deal with that. My children didn't have to deal with some of the things that they had to see. Same with her, but those situations taught me how strong I was because I survived those situations, and I did it without damaging my character, tarnishing who I was, and allowed them to deal with whatever it is that they were dealing with. And now that I have neither one of those people in my life, I'm able to say that I walked away from that with no regrets other than staying in the situation as long as I did, because I did try to be a good person to them. So a healing tip for this is kind of use self-compassion. Journal why I survived this, and I am proud of myself because I survived those years of all of the mess and drama and trauma that I had to deal with, and I am proud of myself. I'm proud of myself that I left those situations without allowing it to turn me into this dark person. Um, oh my God, this is going to be a hard one. One thing that I pretend doesn't bother me, but it still does. Um, One thing I pretend doesn't bother me as much, but it still does, is a lot of the betrayal that I had to go through the year that I had lost my son. I mean, I don't express, I'm really good about expressing what bothers me, but I try to act like I'm over it more than I am. Um, that year, and it's not just from one or two people. It was, I think I only had one person who was on my side, and that was my sister. Everyone else, besides my children, of course, but they weren't supposed to support me. I was supposed to support them, but everyone else who I thought um, who I thought was my friend or who loved me, they showed me really what I meant to them. And I do pretend like I'm over a lot of it when sometimes it still stings. It does. 99, 98% of it I am over, but I still question, what did I do to deserve that type of treatment at times. I have my moments. I still don't understand how so many people can gang up on one person and not even stop to think that this person lost their child. How could they want so much bad for this person and not even think that, hey, this person might need something right now? So that year, I mean, it was a really big surprise because there was at least one person I thought would have been there for me who was not at all. And when I seen how he was responding to a lot of things that was happening in that situation, it kind of changed me, but for the better. Okay, I got through that. So I have to name an emotion aloud and release it with a vocal sigh or a hum. So the emotion that I have when I feel this is sadness. Sadness is released. I have to release that sadness from my body. And the last one in this category is a time I surprised myself with courage that I didn't know I had. Oh, that's when I started to establish boundaries in a relationship that I was in, that I had to let a person know who I was really afraid that was going to leave me, and who I knew would walk out of my life, have been known to walk out of my life. And when I started to establish boundaries and stop caring, like, you know what, if this person leaves my life, then they don't care about me. When I started to put myself first, when I found the courage to put myself first, that surprised me. I did not know I could ever do that, and I was so proud of myself. So proud of myself. So what this healing tip is now is to visualize your past self hugging your present self and celebrating that resilience. I need to celebrate the resilience I had to not care. I mean, I care. You lose people you love, you care. but to not care enough to let it change who you are. There's the motorcycles, you guys. I was waiting for that to come. For the not to allow you to be miserable and let these people walk all over you into something that you're not happy being. So when I decided to take my happiness back, respectfully as I could, um, and defend myself like I know I can, and actually be ready for whatever comes and accept it. And that's actually something new. That's something new, to be content with whatever the outcome is, knowing that you want the outcome to be you not lose a person that you care about. But if you do, and I am proud of myself. So now the next category is would you rather plus healing. Would you rather? So first is would I rather face my fear head on or avoid it to survive another day, and why? Well, to answer that question, I've already faced my fear. One of my biggest fears is losing my children, and I lost one. If I had the option to avoid it and survive another day, I would, but I can't. That is the biggest fear that I live with every day. And the why is because I don't want to lose my children. And no parent wants to lose their child. So, that's the why. But I faced my biggest fear. So I'm living my biggest fear. So I'm proud of that. So to that, you can pair this reflection with a grounding exercise to press your feet firmly on the floor and name 5 things you feel. Like I feel the wind on my arms. I feel the desk. I feel the mouse. I feel the chair. I feel the earphones. Things like that. Just 5 things you feel. So the next prompt would be is, would you rather hold on to your past trauma or risk vulnerability to heal? Honestly, I'd rather just be vulnerable and heal. I don't want to hold on to the past trauma, and that's why I'm on this journey in the first place. I want to release all of those things that has been holding me hostage for the past. I was abused for decades, and I want to release all that trauma. I want that past to stay in the past, and I want to allow myself to be vulnerable and open up to heal. And that is what this is about. That's why I'm sharing all of this with you guys today. That's why I am here, because I want to make myself vulnerable, and I am making myself vulnerable. And honestly, it is helping me to heal. So that's not even what I rather. I'm doing that now. That's what I'm living. So just practice a brief mindfulness check. Inhale. And when you inhale, you say, I accept. And when you exhale, you release. So you inhale all of the light, all of the beauty, all of the goodness of healing. And you release all of the pain, all of the trauma, and all of the bad things that have been holding you back. Now, all of these healing tips are things that you're going to have to do more than once. I do these all the time silently in my head. So it helps me a lot more. But this is just a quick version, just because this is my solo show and I want to do something that's going to help you guys learn and grow. It's kind of like how my challenge was, but that was so deep. I had to back up off that. Learn your boundaries, learn your boundaries. And that was a boundary I needed to put up. I can't go that deep, but I have another one coming for you guys. I told you I am. I'm just stretched a little thin right now. So next prompt. Would I rather risk being judged for sharing my story or stay silent forever? No brainer. You guys see what I'm doing right here. Um, my thing is, I used to care, but now I don't care about who feels what about my journey. This is my journey. It's my story. And for every one person that's judging me for my story, there's going to be so many more that you can use my story to help uplift and empower themselves. So why would I stay silent forever and prevent myself from helping those who need it just for the one or two that's going to judge my story? And for those that judge, I'm sorry. You know, you're welcome to walk away. You heard the trigger warning. If you need to leave, go ahead. I don't want to traumatize anyone. I don't want to trigger anyone, but I'm not going to stay silent for those who don't want to hear my journey. Um, so the affirmation, this healing tip will be an affirmation, is that my story is valid and my voice matters. I'm sorry you guys sent me that. My daughter's calling me. They always do this. I'll be in my little shows and they start calling me or knocking on the door. So if someone in the house can call her back, I know you hear me. Shh. Okay, you guys didn't see that. So category 3 is advice from me, as the survivor me. So the prompt is, if I could tell my younger self one truth about surviving trauma, what would it be? So if I can go back and tell that little me, the younger me, because my trauma started when I was so young, I could tell that younger me that you are going to be so strong, that even though the things that you're going to go through and the things that you're going through hurts right now, it is going to do so much more for you in your life and in your story when you get a certain age, just to hold on, just to hold on, and don't ever let that light go. I mean, because I can't change my past. I don't know if I want to change my past. But what I will do is honor my past. And I would tell my younger self to live their life the best they can and know that one day they're going to be able to stand up and help so many people with the story that they have to share with the world. Okay, so the healing tip for that is use reflective writing. Write a short letter to your younger self. That's that inner child healing. Hug yourself. Tell yourself, hey, you made it. You did it. You don't have to. You don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Write that letter to yourself so that that younger child can see the strength in you today and know that you're going to protect him or her or them or they or Z or Zay. I don't know, what people identify as. I'm always trying to be politically correct, so if I offend anyone, I do apologize. Um, so the next prompt is the advice I'd give someone in the middle of what I went through. The advice I would give someone is to try to come up with a safety plan to leave if you can. I didn't have anyone encouraging me or motivating me and telling me, you don't have to stay in this. David, you don't have to stay in it. Mine was domestic violence. Mine was toxic people. Mine was always someone outside of my life bringing their trauma and their problems into my world. Um, and the advice I would give is you don't have to do that. You don't owe anyone anything. And if you do decide that you want to leave, make sure you do it as safely as you can. Come up with a safety plan and start making changes for your life now. Seek some type of therapy, coaching, something that'll help you learn how to love and heal in the beginning so that once you do release yourself from that negative, toxic situation, you're already on the journey to healing. And it'll be that much easier with a support group. With a support group, again, as safely as you can. Do not ever put yourself in danger. Um, the healing tip for this is to teach a mini self-soothing technique. So, telling me to teach one. Haha. Put your hand on your heart and take deep, slow breaths. That actually helps me because this is making me a little nervous because I feel like I am making myself vulnerable again. It's easy to let someone else make themselves vulnerable and be supportive of their journey. It's always hard when you're in the hot seat. So now that I'm in the hot seat, I had to, this right here helped me just a couple of breaths. My heart was even beating fast. It slowed down a little bit, you guys. So just a couple of deep breaths. So the last prompt in this section is a self-care tip that saved me when I felt powerless. Mine was honestly saying no, was establishing a boundary. I had to teach myself that it was okay to say no. That was the biggest self-care that I could have ever given to myself because I was one of those people pleasers. I want to see you happy. I want you to love me because I made you happy. Instead, I had to learn how to tell people that they need to love me just because of who I am. I should not have to do anything to earn your love. Just because the fact that I'm a kind person, I love you. I want to see you succeed. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'll do what I can do. That should be enough. I should not ever have to wear myself so thin that I'm exhausted taking care of someone else who won't do the same for me. So, um, so this is another healing tip: is to notice three sounds around you, three smells, and three things you can touch. Three sounds is the fan behind me. Of course, the traffic. I can hear those motorcycles. I don't know if you can, but I can. And honestly, that's only the two things. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. I usually hear dogs barking, but I don't hear that. And the only thing I can smell is the Alfredo that I made for dinner tonight. I can actually smell the lip gloss that I have. It's this ruby red, ruby kisses lip gloss that I wear, and some of them have this nice scent. And three things that I can touch is my keyboard, my cell phone, and my lamp, my light. Hey. So now we're on category 4, which is vulnerable survivor truths. So this prompt is asking me about the moment I felt completely powerless and what I did to reclaim myself. The moment I felt completely powerless was that time I lost my child. When I had his death certificate in my hand, I could not bring him back. I could not will him back. I could not fight him back. I fight to bring him back. I felt completely powerless. And what I did to reclaim myself was I lived. I continued to get up every day. I went back to school. I completed my degree. I got therapy. I left the city that I was living in where I was going through all of the trauma, and I put myself in a position to be around people who would actually support me. I set myself up for surviving instead of for failure. Um, and I just kept waking up every day, showing up, loving my kids, loving myself, loving my family, loving my husband, loving my sisters, my friends, everyone who was showing me the support that I needed instead of taking taking me for granted. So for that, you get to incorporate a power pose for 30 seconds. So all I can do is the deuce fingers and the big smile because I can't get up and strike a pose, or I would, okay. But get up and embody your strength. Find a pose, get up, and I'll do it after this show. Embody your strength. Another prompt. Something I wish I could say to the person who hurt me, but I can't. Uh, which one? I guess right. One of the things I wish I could say to the ones who I cannot tell that hurt me, like the ones that are not in my face or the ones who I don't speak to. Because I still talk to my mom sometimes. But you didn't win. You did not win. You did not break me. Thank you. Thank you for showing me how strong I am. Thank you for helping me understand how sad you are. Um, and thank you for giving me a story that can help so many people. But you did not win. You did not break me. I am way stronger than you thought I ever was. And it's because of all of you who thought you could break me. Because there wasn't just one person. When I say there are, I can count on more than both of my hands how many people are on that list. I don't know why, again, but hey, I don't really care anymore because I appreciate the strength that you showed me I had because I stood alone in some of the worst moments of my life when you, all of you, were trying to break me, and I'm still here. Um, so try a silent visualization exercise. Just imagine safely releasing those words into the air without judgment. Thank you. Thank you for being who you are to make me who I am. Um, okay, so the last prompt is my greatest fear after surviving trauma and how it motivates me now. My greatest fear after surviving trauma was that I would become very angry and very mean, bitter, and cruel because I've gone through so much stuff, and the people who were the ones that hurt me the most were the ones who were supposed to love me the most. It is motivating me to work on that because again, my family, we are fueled in anger. When we are hurt, we fight. We don't cry. We don't break down. And so it's motivating me to not be that way. Do I have moments where I get fussy? I can fuss somebody out with the best of them, but I won't put my hands on you. I will demand respect, but I will do the best that I can not to use my words to break, even though I'm not perfect and I probably am still working on a lot of things because but I'm a lot better than I was before, and that is something that I am proud of as well. Because as long as you are making progress, the journey is never going to end, and that I am making some progress. So write it down, fold up the paper, safely release it. I burn mine in a safe way, flush it, rip it up, whatever you got to do, but just release it as a symbolic act. that fear after surviving trauma. Don't let it control you. Don't let it stop your journey. Keep going. So then that the fifth and final category is reflective and empowered confessions. A time I reclaimed power in a situation I thought was hopeless. It was again the time that I lost my child and everybody who was attacking me, and there was one person who should have had my back as much as I thought, and I started to defend myself with them. I had to reclaim what was taken from me because I thought that if I didn't do the things that I needed to do, that I would just be completely alone. But I had to learn, I don't care. I had to remember who I was. I had to learn about who I was. I am not this weak person that needs a person in my life. I lived years as a single mother with no one but me and my kids. And I had to remember those times, what they were like. Like, you've done this before. You've had everybody turn their back on you. I have literally everyone turn their back on me, and I was fine. I took my children. We went out. We had a good life, until I started finding other people who were better for me than the ones who walked away from me. And I had to reclaim that part of me and realize that I was never hopeless. I just allowed myself to be vulnerable to the wrong people, which I tend to do sometimes. So I had to learn how to look at the red flags. That's another thing this journey is teaching me, is to pay attention to the red flags, because they are there. We just kind of overlook them. I don't anymore. So this situation, the healing tip would be to close your eyes, inhale, and visualize yourself just standing tall and victorious, like I did it. I'm not hopeless. I am strong. I did overcome the situation. So another prompt. My most surprising source of strength during my recovery. It was my kids. They were so strong when my son passed away. They had their moments of breaking as well, but they did not. They did not break. My son, he he was still his silly self. He tried to make the best of it. My daughter, she did, it did hurt her, but she came out so strong. She was so strong. She went to school every day. She graduated high school 2 years early. She didn't. She wanted to make sure she made her brother proud instead of breaking down and having him worry about us and his after him and me. Strength really looked like when you were really broken inside. And so did my son. They both showed me that I needed to step up and be on their level. And I was so proud of them. So the healing tip with that is to pair with a gratitude exercise. So, think of that surprising source and name three strengths out loud. So my strengths are resilience, courage, and oh my God, I should not have to even think about it, the other one. She was and kindness. Honestly, kindness is my strength because I love to help. I can name more now. That's always happens when I think of the third one. Things just start popping in my head. But kindness, resilience, and strength. Those are my biggest, strength. Those are my kindness, resilience, and I can't use strength because strength is already here. Um, Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a strength of mine too because the people that I named, I don't hate them. I'm not angry with them, and I do forgive them, even though people feel like I shouldn't, but I do because they did what they did, and there's nothing I can do to take that back. And whoever they are in their lives today, they're not a part of my life, and I don't have to hold on to that anger. Not forgiving someone is you holding on to that trauma and allowing it to control you. And I chose to use forgiveness as a strength and let them know and myself know that they don't have that control over me anymore. It's gone. Okay, last and final prompt. A moment when I realized my resilience is bigger than my pain. Um, when I didn't, when I didn't, when I sought help, when I was having tendencies to self harm, but I instead of doing that, I reached out for help. I actually used the resilience within myself to see that I was too broken to keep doing it alone. And I called the therapist, Dr. Rob, and she emailed me. I'm waiting for her to email me back because I responded. But But I reached out to her and I took time off work. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to work myself into the grave. I'm not going to stress myself out. I'm going to take care of myself. And when I did that, that was when I realized my resilience was bigger than my pain. So, for this healing tip, notice your chest opening, shoulders relaxing, and a smile forming. This is just you anchoring and feeling this feeling inside of your body. This relax and be happy. Allow yourself to be happy because at the end of the day, we're fighting we're fighting something that wasn't our fight to begin with. You know, we didn't ask for this. We did not ask for this. We didn't want to be mistreated, abused, or whatever it was that people felt like they could do to us to make us feel the way we had to feel we were feeling in the first place. So that wraps up. And then, oh, you know what? Before I do, I always like to leave everybody with some type of resource. I don't have them in my face right now because this was a last minute solo episode. So, National Domestic Violence Hotline. And I don't remember the number, but I do know that the website is thehotline.org or .com. I will actually update my descriptions and include those links in my descriptions just for anyone who may need them. So that wraps up another episode of Insights of a Survivor. I hope today's journey into my confession and reflection and healing left you feeling seen, empowered, and reminded that your story is not your shame, it's your strength, it's your power, and it is your truth. Remember that every step you take, every trauma you face, every moment you allow yourself to feel, every truth you confront, that is a victory over the pain that tried to define you, that did try to define you. Healing is not going to ever be easy. But every honest reflection and every courageous choice is proof that you are resilient, you are worthy, and you are unstoppable. So if today's episode resonated with you, I need you to do a few things to help this community grow and thrive, okay? I'm going to need you to like this episode, share this episode, and subscribe to Empowered Voices Finding Strength in Survivors so that you and survivors everywhere can find a space where their stories do matter. Please comment, engage, and let me know your reflections. Your voice is part of this movement that we're building here, and I would love to hear that, okay? And for those of you who feel called to go even further, if you're able, consider supporting this show through donations or sponsorship. Your contributions don't just keep this show alive. It helps make events, retreats, and summits even possible for survivors who needs to be uplifted, empowered, and reminded that they are not alone. Together we can create safe, transformative spaces where healing, growth, and connections can thrive. So as we close today, I want you to carry this with you, which is my slogan. That's my logo. I'm gonna have to put that on a shirt somewhere and get it copyrighted before you guys steal it from me. But your story does not end in pain. It begins in power. I'm just kidding, you guys. It begins in power. Your courage, your truth, and your voice they're your superpowers. Stand tall and honor your journey. Never forget that your strength you hold is that the strength you hold is within. Don't forget that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself. Thank you for letting your story, your life light the ways for others. Until next time, I am PJ, and this is Insights of a Survivor, where your story begins in power.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from dark way too long in this place. That bright smile long gone been replaced. From ear to ear, I see that fear in your face. Tell me when the last time you felt safe, cause there's some evil people in the streets. Evil at your front door, creeping while you sleep. It's time to raise up, show that evil we ain't weak. We don't turn the other cheek, I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy, I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know that got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I